Andre Whitfield had renewed his membership at Cedar Brook Country Club every year for the past 9 years, always in person, always in June, always with the same easy 15-minute conversation at the front desk before he went out to hit a bucket of balls. This year, the woman behind the desk was new. Membership renewal, please. Whitfield, family membership, account 441. Marjorie Kell, the club's new membership director, typed the number, frowned at her screen, and looked up at him with the particular caution of someone about to say something she'd rehearsed. I'm going to need the primary account holder present for this. I am the primary account holder. The account lists a founding era membership number. Those don't typically transfer without documentation. It transferred to me 11 years ago when my father passed. I've renewed it every June since. Andre slid his card across the desk, along with a folder of the last 3 years' statements, the way he always did out of habit more than necessity. Kell studied the card longer than the process required, glancing between it and her screen. This account has some unusual history. I'd like to verify a few things before I process anything. What exactly is unusual about it? Frankly, Mr. Whitfield, founding-era numbers this low are typically held by families who've been members for generations. I want to make sure the transfer was handled correctly, for the club's records. Andre felt something familiar settle into his chest. The specific fatigue of watching someone search for a polite way to ask a question they'd already decided the answer to. The transfer was handled by your predecessor. It's in the file. I don't have that file in front of me yet. Behind him, a member Andre vaguely recognized from the pro shop walked past with his own renewal, greeted by name, waved through without a card even leaving his pocket. Andre noticed. He always noticed. I'll need a moment, Kell said, and stepped into the back office with his card and folder still in hand, phone already at her ear before the door fully closed. Through the glass, Andre watched her lower her voice. He waited at the desk, hands loosely at his sides the way he'd trained himself to a long time ago. The man who came out wasn't Kell. Older, blue blazer with a club crest, a name tag reading Derek Moss, House Committee Chair. He looked at Andre the way you'd look at an unfamiliar car parked in your usual spot. Mr. Whitfield, Marjorie tells me there's a question about the membership transfer. There's no question. I've been a member for 9 years, renewing the same account every June. The account predates that. I understand it's a founding era number. Moss said the phrase carefully, like it was doing a lot of work he didn't want to spell out directly. We've had a few issues over the years with numbers like that being represented incorrectly. Represented incorrectly by whom? I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm saying the House Committee likes to be thorough when a membership of this vintage is in question. It's not in question, it's documented. My father's name is on the original ledger. Moss's expression didn't quite change, but something in his posture did, the stiffening of a man deciding whether to say the next part out loud. Your father was a member here. My father, and his father before him, since 1961. The silence that followed had a texture to it, the specific quiet of a room recalculating something it thought it already understood. Moss glanced toward the wall behind the desk, where a row of framed photographs and plaques hung, decades of club history nobody at the front desk had looked at closely in years. I'd like to see documentation of that lineage, Moss said, recovering. For the file. You have my statements. You have the account number. What documentation specifically would satisfy you? I'll know it when I see it. Andre had heard versions of that sentence his whole life, dressed in different uniforms, delivered by different faces, always arriving at the same destination, a moving target that no document could ever actually hit, because the document had never been the real question. A younger staff member, Elias Ford, who'd been quietly restocking the pro shop counter within earshot, stepped closer. Sir, Mr. Moss, the Whitfield plaque is right there. Founding family, 1961, West Wall. Moss didn't turn immediately. This isn't your matter, Elias. I walk past it every day. I know whose name is on it. Then you'll want to be careful how you characterize this going forward." The tone cut flat across the lobby. Elias's jaw tightened, but he didn't step back. Andre walked to the wall himself, past the desk, past Moss, and stood in front of the small brass plaque he'd walked past 100 times without needing to read it, because he'd always known what it said. Founding members, 1961. 11 names, engraved in order. Whitfield, third from the top. "There," Andre said quietly. "That's the documentation." Moss's face didn't drain all at once. It happened the way frost takes a window, one corner at a time, as he read a plaque he had apparently walked past for years without connecting it to the man now standing in front of him. "Mr. Whitfield, I wasn't aware. I wasn't." "That's exactly the problem," Andre said. "You didn't need to be aware of my family's history for my membership to be valid. You needed a card, a statement, and an account number, all of which I gave you in the first 90 seconds. Everything after that was you deciding I didn't look like someone whose number could start with a 2. Moss had no answer for that. Andre didn't ask for Moss's job. He asked for something that would outlast one committee chair's tenure. A written, published renewal standard, identical regardless of account vintage, and an end to unwritten verification discretion that let any staff member delay a member's renewal without a specific, documented reason. The House Committee's internal review, conducted the following month, found 6 other founding-era renewals flagged for additional verification over the past 4 years, 4 of them belonging to the club's only black founding families. All 4 had eventually been processed without incident and without explanation, and without anyone above Marjorie Kell ever asking why those particular 6 accounts kept drawing extra scrutiny that no other founding-era membership ever did. Kell was retrained rather than terminated. Moss, whose title carried the actual authority to have stopped the incident in its first 60 seconds, resigned from the House Committee before the review concluded, his statement citing personal reasons that satisfied no one who'd sat through the meeting where the plaque was finally read aloud in full. Elias Ford, the young staffer who'd spoken up, was invited to join the House Committee itself the following season, the first employee under 30 ever asked to sit on it. Andre still comes to Cedar Brook every June to renew, in person, the same 15-minute conversation he'd always had, except now there's a laminated card behind the desk listing exactly what qualifies as sufficient proof for any renewal, founding era or otherwise, so the next person standing where he stood doesn't have to produce a plaque on a wall to be believed. If you think a membership shouldn't need a family name on a wall to be honored, let us know in the comments. Should Moss have been allowed to resign quietly, or should the House Committee's report have named him alongside Kell? This is a fictional story created for storytelling purposes. All characters, names, institutions, and events are imagined.